Welcome to Just This. This evening, we are going to enact together two ancient ceremonies. Head student completion ceremony, followed by a head student entering ceremony. We've worked to adapt these ceremonies to a modern online medium to allow them to stay true to their essence and their intimacy, which has been the integrity of the original ceremonies over many centuries. First, we have the completion ceremony for Catherine Ellis, our current head student. Catherine will be accompanied by Judy, her assistant, who has been her assistant throughout the year, which is called her Benji. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. As Josh mentioned, we do our best to knit together what normally would be happening in one room through these various openings. And each person will be offering themselves wholeheartedly as if we were face to face. And that's one of the things that is missing at this point, but that we're doing with our best effort and our wholehearted practice to enact the face-to-face warm connection that would happen in the Zendo or the Buddha Hall. It's just a larger container right now. In just a moment, Josh and I, who would normally be sitting behind a low table, we would normally come in and offer incense to begin. The head student would join us. So we will enact that incense offering now, and then the Benji will invite us to together read the Heart Sutra, and we'll continue with the ceremony that will unfold. But this is our entry point. Please offer your full attention with an open heart and with the joy of this important and beautiful ceremony, which allows us to celebrate the time that Catherine has led us as head student and Judy accompanying her. Thank you very much.
Please remain muted, but join me as we read the Sutra on the Heart of Realizing Wisdom Beyond Wisdom. Avalokiteshvara, who helps all to awaken, moves in the deep course of realizing wisdom beyond wisdom, sees that all 5 streams of body, heart, and mind are without boundary and frees all from anguish. O Shariputra, who listens to the teachings of the Buddha, form is not separate from boundlessness. Boundlessness is not separate from form. Form is boundlessness. Boundlessness is form. Feelings, perceptions, inclinations, and discernment are also like this. O Shariputra, boundlessness is the nature of all things. It neither arises nor perishes, neither stains nor purifies, neither increases nor decreases. Boundlessness is not limited by form, nor by feelings, perceptions, inclinations, or discernment. It is free of the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Free of sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and any object of mind. Free of sensory realms, including the realm of the mind. It is free of ignorance and the end of ignorance. Boundlessness is free of old age and death, and free of the end of old age and death. It is free of suffering, arising, cessation, and path, and free of wisdom and attainment. Being free of attainment, those who help all to awaken abide in the realization of wisdom beyond wisdom and live with an unhindered mind. Without hindrance, the mind has no fear. Free from confusion, those who lead all to liberation embody profound serenity. All those in the past, present, and future who realize wisdom beyond wisdom manifest unsurpassable and thorough awakening. Know that realizing wisdom beyond wisdom is no other than this wondrous mantra, luminous, unequaled, and supreme. It relieves all suffering. It is genuine, not illusory. So set forth this mantra of realizing wisdom beyond wisdom. Set forth this mantra that says, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamagate, Bodhi, Swaha.
Case 37 from the Gateless Gate. Once a monk asked Zazu, "What is the meaning of the ancestor coming from the west?" Zazu said, "The cypress tree in the courtyard." The verse: words do not express the fact. Speech does not match the student. Attached to words, one loses the reality. Stagnating in phrases, one is deluded.
This is a poem I've written for Catherine, as traditionally offered by the Benji to the Shuso or head student. Poem for Catherine, my friend and Shuso. You always remind us we can't do this alone. You are a teller of tales that connect. Shine light on stories that advocate for deep respect for Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and all that's gone before. Our Dharma grandmothers, dedicated, fierce but deeply human, you follow their path and beckon us all to navigate the way with grace and humour. You always remind us we can't do this alone. You connect with the beauty of nature. You show us your own true nature by letting us see the workings out, a legacy from Ginny. The shadow exposed, yet it brings in your light. You share your doubts, your struggles with your greatest teachers, with humour and candour, bestowing courage so we too can show all. You always remind us we can't do this alone. You give me permission to accept who I am, my bewilderment at the koans, my flaws, joys and struggles, my tangled karma. I see all your facets, from South Shields to Japan, from Hilda to Shuso, and back and forth as we journey back from Sheldon, deep in conversation. You always remind us we can't do this alone. Your warm welcome makes us feel at home in the Sangha, in our skin, in your garden, a little slice of Japan in the Mayfield Valley, a shining tribute to our Dharma ancestors. You're an heir to their dignity, compassion, and dedication. You always remind us we can't do this alone. Hilda tells it like it is. Miles and minutes recede. Zen connects these women over space and time. Catherine, Hilda, and their fierce and feisty Dharma sisters. Snatches of conversation, remnants of a dream, nothing special, nothing missing. Now, hear the head student.
This is the Dharma staff, 5 feet long. Once a black snake on Vulture Peak, it became the Udambara flower. At Shaolin Temple, it burst forth the 5 petals of Zen. Sometimes it is a dragon swallowing heaven and earth. Sometimes a Vajra sword, giving and taking life. This staff is now in my hands. Though just a mosquito biting an iron bull, I cannot give it away. Dragons and elephants, let us call forth the Dharma. Give me your questions.
Catherine, it's so heartening to see you there. And I was thinking about my question and realized that I was very good at thinking of lots of questions about you and absolutely terrible about thinking about a question that might involve me. And listening to Judy in her beautiful poem saying, you can't do this alone. You know me well, and I wonder what support or what advice you would help me to do it a little less alone.
Dear Trudy, my advice would be to open your heart to everyone else. And if you do that, all will be fine.
It's so lovely to be part of this ceremony at the end of this this year of richness with you as head student. And I so appreciated Judy's poem about you. My question is this: for you, how does an appropriate response arise?
A good question, John. I think it starts in noticing, trying to always be present and noticing without judgment what's going on inside my heart in relation to the other person, and checking to see what my motivation is, and trying to come from as clean a place as possible. I don't think it's possible to ever come from a completely clean place, but it's possible to be aware of many of the nooks and crannies in our hearts, and to come from as authentic, and the word I continually use is clean, to come from as clean place. And although I'm a great one for preparing, you can't really prepare, and to let the response come directly from your heart mind.
Catherine, it's so wonderful to see you at the end of what's been an amazing year and very different year, sure, for you. And I love the words in Judy's poem, and it prompted me to think and to be curious about what's been your biggest surprise during your year as head student?
My biggest surprise has been what the effect is of allowing yourself to be carried by everybody else. I always have a small part that feels, a young part that feels quite on its own, and that everything's too hard and it just can't do it. And I think I've learned that I can't do it. But if I give myself wholeheartedly and I allow the support that's there, then the doing gets done. And I think that's been my biggest learning.
Hello, Catherine. It's a joy to see you embracing this ceremony after a year of wholehearted practice. I have so relished and enjoyed your Dharma talks. I have been really entertained by Hilda, and I can really see how it has added so much to the Dharma talks. I will miss her. But my question was, I have my own idea about how Hilda helps, but I wondered for you, how does it help you to engage and understand the Dharma by having Hilda alongside you?
Thank you, Jan. I'm glad you enjoyed her. The first thing is to say about Hilda that she's informed by certain of the ladies, guinea-wearing ladies in the chapel where I grew up, women who were very largely overlooked and whose wisdom wasn't valued. So in many ways, Hilda is is part of my reconciliation with my background and seeing things in it that were jewels, overlooked jewels. So she's very important in that regard.
Mm. She's
important to me because she's a Geordie and I feel very northern, and I feel it's really important that we express the Dharma as ourselves. You know the story of the samurai woman who says, I am a samurai woman and I bear a sword and I teach the Dharma face to face. I think it's inauthentic to pretend to be anything other than you are. And Hilda's a connection with my northernness. Mm. And she's also a connection with the part of me that believes that Zen is something very concrete and very ordinary. Not special, not highfalutin, but something low to the ground is how I think about it. I also now think about it as tool shed Zen because of Sojourn Mel Wiseman, but something close to the ground, close to real human experience. And that's what she means to me.
Thank you for a beautiful answer.
Dear Catherine, I'm so happy to be here on this such a special occasion. My question is, when I sit in Zazen, my mind often wanders, and I wondered if that happened to you and if there's anything I can do about it.
You too. Of course it does. I always think, Joe, that minds have minds of their own. What to do is to notice, just notice, notice how your mind wants to take you away from centering in that silent place. Notice what its opinion is, notice what it's saying to you, and embracing it warmly without any criticism at all. Bring it back to the center of your being, to the silent center, and just keep doing that over and over and over and over. And that's the practice. It isn't about becoming a perfect anything, and it isn't about doing perfect Zazen. It's about realizing what's happening and coming back to your center. And it's probably a question, Joe, that everyone in this Sangha and everybody in the whole world would ask. Don't feel alone.
Hello, Catherine.
Hello, Duncan.
It's lovely to be with you. And thank you for your teachings and the unique way in which you share them. I found them inspirational. And from my own point of view, I find I can connect with these teachings very readily in this kind of space. But what I find in my everyday life is how quickly they vanish when I make contact with the busyness of everyday life. So my question was, I wondered if you could offer me any advice for how I could remember and reconnect with the practice of just living life and accepting life as it is in the busyness of everyday life.
Yeah, we seem to be entranced by busyness, all of us in Western society. I think, first of all, Duncan, to be kind to yourself, because you live a very busy life, and I'm sure that you wholeheartedly commit yourself to everything that you do. So not to be critical, but to notice, what is the busyness about? And I can't remember the exact quote, but Suzuki Roshi said something about peacefulness in busyness and an activity in peacefulness. So, like you, I get very seduced by busyness and bits of anxiety and fussing on about this, that, and the other. But increasingly, I try to find the peaceful place that's there despite all the busyness. And the other thing I would recommend is to find a practice that's very centering and that very much speaks to you. So the one that speaks to me is Mamitsu no Kafu, the doing everything with warm, generous care, just one thing after another. That's the one that's spoken to me. So that's the one that I find easiest to return to. Though, of course, I frequently forget it. And it seems to me that's just part of being human. We fall asleep and we wake up, and we fall asleep and we wake up. And that is just a continual process.
Hi.
Wow.
It's so lovely to be with you and see you. And I also feel very sad that we can't share a hug at the end of the ceremony. And the question I'm really struggling with at the moment is how do I practice when I feel really afraid?
You've come to a good person for that one, Claire. I think I can speak with authority about being afraid. I've adapted in my mind. Well, I hold two things in my mind. One is Flint saying that fear is aliveness happening in us right now. So I try to reframe how I think about fear. At one time, I used to reframe it as something that was absolutely intolerable. I used to almost use the word intolerable, and something that I desperately needed to get away from and find sanctuary and refuge by hiding or asking someone else to do something for, giving it to somebody else. But now I remember it's aliveness moving in me. It's just the form that aliveness is taking. I find that helpful. And then something that Hilda might say is, open the front door, open the back door, but don't invite it in. Don't invite it for a cup of tea. Let it come in. Try not to be swamped by it. Try to be friendly towards it. But if you can keep present to it, it will go, as all feelings do. They come and they go. But if you cling to them, they don't. And if you try to suppress them, they settle in. And they'll be demanding cups of tea all over the place. So that's my best advice. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've had a wonderful year during lockdown because I've got to know you and the Nothing Special group, as well as the other groups within Just This. And it feels, I've had my own dilemmas to deal with, as everybody has, and it has been such a supportive process. And it's given an opportunity to really get to know this practice, which is new to me. And I thank you for everything you've done to help further that knowledge. In a way, the year's been a little like a retreat for a year. Almost daily contact with some of the Zen practice. And the issue facing me now, as I'm sure other people, how to re-engage with this world, but without losing that sense of being in retreat, being in a special place, being somewhere that you can feel the peace move through you, not just to become too busy again doing. So, any advice?
It's completely impossible to become detached from the world. We've been experiencing certain aspects of it, and now we're going to be experiencing different aspects of it. So change like that is always happening, all the time, coming and going. Find the place that doesn't change. My other piece of advice is to keep practicing, keep coming to Zazen, keep practicing. Spend time with people who practice this practice. Keep in contact. That's my best advice.
Thank you.
So first of all, I want to thank Flint for beckoning me forward into the role of head student. It's been an enormously rich experience, and I can truly say it's been beyond anything I could have imagined. An experience of being taken forward by the very fact of stepping through a Dharma gate and allowing myself to be carried by everyone else. I'm so grateful, and I'm particularly grateful to John and Judy, who's been my hugely generous and supportive Benji. Thank you, Josh, for telling me that all this would be the case when I fell into the trance of not being enough. Keeping case 37 close and holding it in my imagination, I've always felt that Joshu, pointed to the cypress tree, physically pointed when the monk asked him, why did Bodhidharma come from the West? Pointing to the concrete world, the everyday world, right here, right now. Asking the monk to see it with fresh eyes, with Bodhidharma's eyes, as a creation of everything else, as an expression of Buddha nature, an aspect of the one bright pearl. When we can see and act from in the world from emptiness, we can release the intimacy that's possible with every meeting, the intimacy that's waiting for us, waiting to happen. I think Zazu was also pointing the monk away from speculative, abstract thought and discussion about the meaning of life, towards the experiencing of things without self-consciousness blocking the encounter. Pointing us in the direction of our own courtyards, our own backyards, our own lives, our own heart, mind. Seems to me that he's saying to us that that's where you'll find the answer to the meaning of your life. Not in mystical or special teachings brought from afar by an exotic hero figure. My experience has been of a teacher in Flint who has pointed me in the direction of my own heart-mind, helped me to remember what somehow I already knew, and who has sort of reintroduced me to myself. So starting a process of recalibrating my way of looking at and receiving the world and offering myself back to it. Pointing the way away from a why question to a how question. How can I bring the truth of interdependence alive by living it in an ordinary, everyday, very messy human life? All the while I've been mulling over this koan, memories of the 10 Swiss retreats have been coming up into the here and now. And I've written a poem which I want to share with you. It includes some of the phrases from Flint's teaching that have meant a lot to me. It's called, rather cornily, Why Did Flint Come from America? Not far, not fancy, not foreign, not from over there, not new. Pointing to the here and now. Line shoes up outside the Zendo. Open the door with care. Remember which foot goes first. Tread softly on that creaky floorboard. Just sit with dignity. How simple are you prepared to let this be? Right here, right now. Pointing to the world. Open the heart window. Let it all in. The larch trees beyond the glass. The cowbells in the meadow. The rosy mountain tops at dawn. The raw air catching the lungs. The powdery snow on the tongue. The beloved faces. The withered flower head. The empty chair. Pointing to myself. Speak kindly to that monk in you. Tell her, relax the why. Massage the brow that craves to understand. Gently touch the meaning maker. Smile at the one whose mantra is not enough. Allow the blossoming. Collapse into the fullness. Just pointing. 2 hands in gachot. 1 bright pearl. Through the support of my teachers and all of you, I have been head student. I am deeply grateful for all of your help, but I have not been worthy of it. Please forgive my mistakes. They fill heaven and earth, leaving no place to hide. Friends, if my actions and words have misled you, please wash your ears in the pure sound of the present, and please continue your practice. Avowing my profound limitations, I will continue to practice diligently. Thank you very much. This staff has been in my hand. I now return it to you.
We now come to the part of the evening where we invite you to offer a brief congratulatory statement to Catherine. So we have about maybe 10 minutes for a brief congratulatory statements. Thank you.
Congratulations doesn't seem a big enough word. You have been so inspirational, and I have loved the way that you have made the Dharma so accessible to so many of us with such grace and lashings of humour. Congratulations and thank you so much.
you, Jen.
Congratulations, dear friend. I'm really pleased that I could be here with you tonight. I'm really happy to be travelling the path with you. Thank you so much for your teachings and your wholehearted friendship. Thank you.
Catherine and Judy. I just wanted to say, well, congratulations, and it's just so wonderful how it's so obvious that the teachings just are not just writing on a page for you, they just jump off that page and you live them and you breathe them, and I can really hear them walking around inside of you when you speak, and it's just wonderful. I mean, I met you a long time ago, and your essence and strength and beauty and vulnerability was so obvious right then, and I fell in love with you very quickly. And I still wear the bracelet you gave me all those years ago, 15 years ago, and it's been broken a couple of times, which is quite fitting, and I've glued it back together, and yeah, it's just, you bring everything alive, and you're wonderful, and I love you very much, and I'm so glad that you're along this journey, and that I'm around. I can see you, I can hear you, and I can really learn from you and feel what's going on. It's just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So much love for you. Thank you so much.
And I can learn from you, Maria. Thank you for being around.
That was quick. Can you hear me, Catherine?
Yes, Kate, I can.
Sorry, I thought I'd be at the end of a really long queue. I'm so pleased to be here. I'm just so pleased to be here. And I've been sitting there thinking, why didn't I use her more while she was head student? But I wanted to say that I know that you've been there, and I had one meeting with you when I was at a time when things were very painful and difficult, and I won't ever forget the things that you said to me then. They made such a difference and put me into a place of peace. And I can remember you saying, try changing the pleases to thank yous. And it made a massive difference, because I was, oh, please let this happen, please let this happen. And it completely changed it to thank you for what is happening now. And you also talked about making a system, for us to be a system, to be a family where we can all explore our preferences. And I came away from that meeting really quite changed, and you shared a lot of your own vulnerability with me, which has been discussed this evening. And for that, I thank you, and thank you for being our head student.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Catherine. I've not had the opportunity to enjoy you as much as I'd have liked this last year. It's been a bit of a busy year, but I've been humbled by Hilda, and I'm really grateful for you liberating that bodhisattva from South Shields. I was born in North Shields at Tynemouth Hospital, so it's kind of like a warming ancestral treat when Hilda comes out. And whilst I've not talked to you and had meetings with you as you've been the head student, I mean, what you've given to me this year is a knowledge that in a way you'll always be a head student, and when that space comes for me to come and talk to you, I know you're there, and that's really beautiful, and I'm so grateful for that. And I've known you for 20 years nearly now, and you're still surprising me, so that's so lovely. Thank you.
You and I too have known each other for a long time and walked several different paths together, but all the same path in some ways. And I just want to say how hugely I have appreciated walking along with you over, like Alistair, nearly 20 years now, and how you have been a huge part of a transformation for me of well, I don't know what phrase to use, but the sort of person I am. So that'll have to do, and it's sort of in the reverse. It's been really lovely and wonderful to see the journey you've come on from those early days in Hakomi to now, to this magnificent year with you as head student, which I have so appreciated. With you as taking that role within our beloved Nothing Special Sangha. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, John, and I appreciate our friendship hugely. And I appreciate the fact that when we bump heads, we have that commitment to untangle any tangles that we get into. And that means a lot to me. Thank you very much. And thank you for your support. Much appreciated.
Catherine, my dear student, and now I find teacher. Like Alistair, you continue to surprise me and delight me. I was moved truly to tears even in the few early moments of the ceremony as I watched you and Judy moving within the space together with such gentle and upright attention, embodying the forms. It's almost like I was surprised, not that I thought you wouldn't do it, but when you did, it called back the deep, deep practice that only shows up in those forms, and it's hard to communicate that to people until you've done them. Just like there's no way to understand this ceremony fully until you've embodied it. And you have so fully embodied it. I think it was probably important that you had visited Japan, not because it's, more special or something, but some of this gets in you when you're in those spaces, and I could see it. And I think maybe we should offer Hilda Dharma transmission. Quite a teacher. I am deeply grateful for your willingness to step forward. I know it was a difficult decision for you, and a good bit of your head student transformation came before you did the entry ceremony through our relationship and just getting you to the doorway, let alone stepping through it. And there was a lot there. And so I appreciate your willingness to do that. Thank you so much. I look forward to our continued practice together.
I look
So,
forward to that too, Flint. And everything that I'm offering, I hope, is an expression of my gratitude to you.
it does translate. And I'll just say briefly, because I think Josh will probably echo this. I wanted to thank Trudy and Jan for doing things in the background, and for Josh holding the teacher's seat, and just everyone who's done all the things to make this ceremony possible also. Thank you.
I was wondering, Catherine, how I would convey the essence of your year as head student and your years as a student before that, and a long time friend. And I was thinking about how important it is to breathe. From the moment we're born, it's breathing. And you've breathed life into this role. You've made it come alive for yourself and for other Sangha members and for your loved ones. And that, for me, is the essence of, I guess, any activity. Can you breathe life into it? And you so have. And I don't think it's any accident that you've been exploring koans with us, because you've explored this role as your koan. You've explored this practice as your koan before you became head student and during it. And you've held that question so beautifully for us all. So thank you so much for your practice and for your friendship. I'm most grateful.
Thank you for being my teacher, Josh, and thank you for accompanying me.
We offer the merit of this ceremony for the welfare of all beings everywhere. May all be relieved of suffering, free from fear, longing, aversion, and ignorance. And may we, together with all beings, realize the awakened way.
And if you will all join me in the recitation of the Bodhisattva vow, even though you'll remain muted, you can follow along. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. We vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. We vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. We vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable. We vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. This vow frees them all. Delusions are inexhaustible. This vow ends them all. Dharma gates are boundless. This vow enters them all. Buddha's way is unsurpassable. This vow embodies it.